Welcome to the Insurance News Net webinar. I am your host, Seth Green, and I will be sharing with you how to finally get the referrals you deserve from CPAs and attorneys. If that is what you're looking for, you are in the right place. We are going to go ahead and get started right around the top of the hour at 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And again, I look forward to sharing with you how you can finally get the referrals you deserve from CPAs and attorneys. You are in the right place. Welcome to the Insurance News webinar, how to finally get the referrals you deserve from CPAs and attorneys. We will get started in just a few minutes. If that's what you're here for, you're in the right place. Welcome to the Insurance News webinar on how to finally get the referrals you deserve from CPAs and attorneys. I'm your host, Seth Green. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be getting started in just a few minutes. Take a minute, fill out the poll, and then if you want to type in the chat box where you are from, where you are joining us today from, that would be awesome. I am joining us today from Buffalo, New York, which is where I am from. No, it is not snowing yet, but it's hopefully not until Thanksgiving, but it is getting frosty. Doug is joining us from Minneapolis, Minnesota. All right, so you are used to the cold, my friend. Welcome. We are going to get started in just another minute. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Welcome to the Insurance News Net webinar, how to finally get the referrals you deserve from CPAs and attorneys. I see Roger is joining us from Charlotte, where it's nice and warm, but Donald has us all beat because he's in Hawaii. Must be nice. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So have you ever wondered why, and you can type your questions in the chat box as we go. I am happy to answer them. Have you ever wondered why it seems like there are insurance agents and financial services professionals and advisors who seem to get referrals from CPAs and attorneys on a regular basis, but you are not getting the level of referrals that you would like? It used to drive me crazy, and I'll tell you all about how I fixed that problem, because you're about to discover how to get attorneys and CPAs to refer you business without begging, without pushing, without taking them to lunch, and without spending money on them. How's that sound? So I promise I will share with you my exact secret that I use and that we've used for dozens of our financial services professionals in order to get CPAs and attorneys to finally actually get you to send you business. I know it sounds too good to be true, but I will show you how right now. So in case you don't know, who am I and why should you listen to me? If you're familiar with Dan Kennedy, this older gentleman on the right here, he is the #1 highest paid direct marketing consultant on the planet. He has about 21 best-selling books. And I am the only person in history who has been nominated 3 years in a row, back to back to back, for his prestigious Marketer of the Year award. I've also been interviewed on real media like Wall Street Journal, CBS, CNN, NBC, and a whole bunch of other places. I've also written 6 books, as you'll see as we go through this today. But I did not start out as a financial advisor or a financial services marketing expert. I actually went to Syracuse University. I was an Orangeman, and I was majoring in acting. My original undergraduate degree, my plan was I was going to become a Broadway star. And my senior year, 2 of my friends and I decided to produce an interactive murder mystery musical called The Mystery of Edwin Drood by Charles Dickens. And we formed a student organization. We went to the student government. They gave us the money for the show, and we were off to the races, and I was a producer until 6 weeks before opening night, when I got a phone call saying, "This is SGA. We need to talk. You need to come in." Now, if you get a phone call saying we need to talk, it's never a good sign. If it's from your spouse, if it's from your girlfriend, significant other, from your boss, usually never a good. It's never we need to talk. I want to give you a promotion, right? It's never we need to talk. We've decided to give you more business. So we went to the meeting, and they said we made a mistake. The bylaws prevent a first-time student organization from receiving so much money in its first year. We need half the money back. And I said, "What do you mean you need half the money back? You can't have it. We're 6 weeks from opening night. We're in production. You can't have the money back." And they said, "Well, you don't understand. We're freezing your account and taking half the money back. You don't have a choice." And I said, "Okay, what am I supposed to do now?" I had 2 choices. I could close the show because I didn't have enough money I couldn't produce the show on half the budget, or I could find another way to get the money. And if you've ever seen the movie Top Gun with Tom Cruise, there's a line in the movie where the bald, cigar-chomping admiral guy says to him, "Son, your ego's writing checks your body can't cash." That's what I did. I said, "Hey, guys," to my 2 friends, I said, "You know what? I've got all these pre-approved credit card applications in the mail in my apartment. Why don't I just fill them out, and we'll charge the remaining budget for the show, and we'll pay it back out of ticket sales. And if there's anything left over that we don't sell tickets for, we'll just split it 3 ways, and you guys will get credit cards, and we'll each take a third." And they said, "That sounds like a great idea, Seth." So I went and did it. And unfortunately, I didn't know anything about marketing then. And we did not sell enough tickets anywhere close. So graduation comes around, and I go to my 2 friends, and I say, "Guys, you got to go get credit cards and transfer these balances so that we each take a third like we agreed to." And they went to their parents and said, "Mom and Dad, can we do this?" And their parents, of course, said no, which is what my parents would have said had I asked months ago, which is why I didn't ask, because I didn't want them to say no. So I was screwed. To put it nicely, my friend stiffed me. I got stuck with the entire debt. And try as I might for the first year, I could not even cover the payments. So I ended up going Chapter 7. I went bankrupt. And when the bankruptcy trustee said, "You spent how much on your credit cards? On what? And you've got nothing to show for it?" I said, "Well, I got a video of a show and a great story." I felt at the time it was one of the worst days of my life. And I decided I had just borrowed a bunch of money to gamble on something I knew nothing about. So a good career choice for me, I couldn't afford to be a starving actor, was to become a financial advisor. In the program I'm about to show you, the strategy works. It doesn't matter if you're an insurance agent, if you're life and health, if you're long-term care, if you're Series 6, if you're Series 7, so stay with me no matter what. So I became a financial planner. I went to work for a Fortune 500 financial services firm that doesn't exist anymore because they've been bought out a couple times. And I made 300 cold calls a day, interrupting strangers asking for money. I'm sure some of you can probably relate to that. Give me a comment in the chat box if you ever have made a cold call in your life. Man, that phone, we didn't have headsets when I started, man. That receiver, that handset felt like it weighed 20 pounds, 40, 50 pounds, man. I did not want to lift that thing anymore. I didn't want to get hung up on. I didn't want to get yelled at. It's not the best way to, not the most entertaining way to make a living, I'll tell you that. So I was frustrated, obviously, and at this point in time, I was reading a magic trade journal. I am a professional magician in my spare time, and I was reading a magic magazine. And there was a full, yes, magicians have trade journals. I actually have about 6 of them now. And there was a full page ad for a marketing course for magicians. And I said, I didn't have the money for it. So I went home. I went to my parents' house and I said, Mom and Dad, can you buy this for me for my birthday coming up? And they said, sure. And I got the course. I did what the course told me, and I doubled my prices, and I became the most expensive, busiest magician in Western New York, where I live. And literally in 30 days, it was absolutely incredible. So I said, I used my consultation critique certificate that came with the course to talk to the gentleman who sold me the course, Dave D. And I said, Dave, would this work in my real job as a financial planner? He said, yes. I said, where'd you learn it? He said, the 2 words that changed my life. He said, Dan Kennedy. A lot of you may know Dan or know of Dan. He's obviously influenced a lot of folks in our industry. So then I went to Dan and I did a consultation. And Dan said, you shouldn't be cold calling for business and mass market mailing seminar invitations. That's what your industry teaches you. It's wrong. Write me this really big check and I'll change your life. His pitch was a lot better than that, but I'm shortening it so that we can get to the good stuff. So I went home to my wife and I said, honey, 12 months ago, we got married. 9 months ago, we bought our first house. 3 months ago, we had our first baby. And a couple of weeks ago, you quit your job to be a stay-at-home mom to our oldest son, Max. And I'm now the sole breadwinner and I'm cold calling for a living. I said, I need to go borrow a bunch of money to go hire this guy, Dan, so I don't have to cold call anymore. And my wife said, no. And then the next day I came home and I said the same thing. And she said, no, with some words I won't mention after it. And then after 30 days of asking her the same question on day 31, she said, you better pray this works. So I hired Dan. And in the first 2 years of working with Dan, my production increased 435%. There were 6,700 advisors at my firm. And when I started, I was 6,699. So I was one up from the bottom. And 2 years of working with Dan, I was in the top 30 nationwide in the country for opening new accounts, competing against advisors who had been building client bases twice as long as I had been alive. So obviously it worked really well. It got me written about in 3 best-selling books on financial services marketing. And I said, Dan, what do I do now? And he said, start a marketing company and do this for other advisors. And I said, okay. So that started Market Domination LLC, which started out as just me and one other financial advisor as my client, and has since grown to me in an office building full of wonderful team members. And we have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of clients all over the country and some all over the world. We've even worked with some Fortune 500 companies, teaching them how to do some of the strategies that we do for financial advisors and other business owners. Along the way, I've written 6 books. Financial Advisor Marketing Magic was my first one. Then I wrote Real Estate Marketing Magic, which is how I sold my house in 2 hours using online marketing. Cutting Edge Marketing Magic, Online Marketing Magic, which is about how to get your website found by Google, and the Facebook Ninja. I've also written a 6th book that is about to be released called Podcast Marketing Magic. And what I'm here to tell you is your referral sources equal your freedom. If you are getting referrals every single month from a dedicated group of 10 to 15 to 20 CPAs and attorneys, you're golden. You don't have to worry about how you're going to pay rent or your mortgage. You don't have to worry where your next client is coming from. You don't have to worry how many people are coming to your next seminar, because if you do it right, they will do the work for you. So stay with me and I'll show you how to do it. Because obviously that's a challenge a lot of people are facing is, man, I'd love to get referrals from CPAs and attorneys, but it just doesn't work. Trust me, I know. I tried. My first year in the financial services business, I probably spent $1,000 taking CPAs and attorneys to lunch. I call them up and say, hey, you have a client and I have a client in common. Let's get together and talk. And for lunch, they'd say, sure, no problem, free lunch. And I'd talk, and they'd say, sure, send me more business, and they never sent anything back. How many of you can relate to that, right? It's frustrating when you're putting out referrals, and you're not getting any back. So let me give you an example of what works. So our strategy is a little bit different. Instead of chasing CPAs and attorneys or paying to get an appointment, we interview them. We do a marketing campaign to them to interview them in a book. So in this case, this is a guy in Atlanta, Georgia, and he's writing a book called Estate Planning Experts Atlanta. And we got him interviews with 15 to 20 other estate planning experts. There's attorneys, there's CPAs, there's nursing homes, there's a whole bunch of people in this book. And then the book gets published, and we send them each, 2 copies, and along with a letter saying, hey, do you want to bury this book in your desk? Obviously, we don't say that, or would you like to buy more copies of the book at our cost? We're not trying to make any money on the books. We just want to get this empowering message out to as many people as possible. So the CPA says, sure, I'll take 200 books. I'll hand them out to all my clients. I'll mail them out. The attorney says, sure, I will happily mail those out because it makes me look good that I was featured. I'm an expert enough that I was featured in a book. So the CPA and attorneys are now handing out your business card. They're handing out your book. And when that client gets the book and they need insurance or financial advice, who do you think they're going to turn to? They may already have an advisor, but if that advisor ever upsets them or if they ever want a second opinion, you're the person they're going to think of because you literally wrote the book that their attorney handed them. And those attorneys and CPAs keep getting new clients. So they have to keep handing out new books to new people. So they're constantly exposing your ideal clients, their clients, to your message. That's why it works so well. It even works to get financial advisors. This is Dr. Len Schwartz, and he has a financial services marketing program that is slightly different, significantly different than the one we're talking about. But he uses our service to get financial advisors to be interviewed in his book and then build a relationship with them that way. So it even works to get in front of professionals who aren't CPAs and attorneys. Now, why am I sharing all of this with you? This is my bigger reason. That is my wife, Rebecca, to the left. Ella, our 6-year-old daughter, is to the left on the bottom. Max, my 8-year-old son, is on the right. And Lily, our 3-year-old daughter, is in the middle. I also believe in Ayn Rand's philosophies, and I think that the government is not going to save us. The entrepreneurs are going to save the world and save the economy. So I loan money through kiva.org. I'm not an affiliate. I don't get paid if you go there. I micro lend money to third world entrepreneurs to help them start or expand their businesses to get out of poverty. Because in my opinion, that's what's going to happen. That's what's going to make it. So I want to help fund more third world entrepreneurs so that, a rising tide lifts all boats. So I hope if you're not taking notes, I hope you start now. What are these steps to a successful book project? First, you need a concept and you need a name. So it's going to depend on what type of business and what type of you're going after and what type of advisor you are. So for example, you saw Estate Planning Experts Atlanta, and we've done estate planning experts in a number of different cities, going after CPAs, estate planning attorneys, nursing homes, gerontologists, people who see older folks doing their estate plans. If that, second to die life insurance policy or that type of business is what you want, then maybe Estate Planning Experts, you're good. We also have, and we've got an advisor financial services professional who's interviewing CEOs of large local companies. And the book is about, the success secrets of large local, of CEOs who've grown their companies. Because that's who he wants to get in front of. We've got another advisor who's doing a book where they are interviewing, they're doing a book on the financial success secrets of, business owners in their city, because they also have an accounting and tax practice along with their insurance business. So they want to talk to them about their financial decision making and how that works so that they can get in front of those folks to talk about bookkeeping and tax work. So you need a concept, and then you need interview questions. The interview questions are designed in 2 parts. We follow a very specific psychological formula, And you want to allow your guest, your interview subject, to tell their story, how they got started, how they got to where they are now. You want to allow them to show off. What do you specialize in? What do you do best? Can you talk about some examples of current clients or case studies, names withheld, obviously, and how you're able to help them? And then we put some psychological questions in there that are designed to elicit pain points in a subtle way so that the subject doesn't know you're doing it, but it allows you to open the door for future business with them, not just their clients. And then, of course, once you've got your concept and your name down, you need to book your first guest. So you've got to decide, who is that going to be? Is that going to be an attorney? Are those attorneys? Are those CPAs? Are they, somebody else? And how do you approach them? You can, depending on what your if you have a compliance department, it could be, you can Google them, build a spreadsheet of their names and firm names and phone numbers and emails. You could send an email. You could send a snail mail letter. You could call, because it's not a cold call anymore, because it's not like you're calling out of the blue. If you call Attorney Jones's office, and the secretary says, how can I help you? And you say, yes, I'd like to talk to you about booking Mr. Jones for a media appearance. We'd like to, write about him in a book. They'll take that call. All of a sudden, it's not, it's another financial professional, another insurance guy, another broker trying to get business. It's, oh my God, I want to be in a book. Don't you want to be in a book? So it's a totally different proposition and gets them chasing you, saying, yes, I would love to be in your book. Please include me. So now you get to pick who gets in and who doesn't. How are you going to conduct the interviews? That depends. If you are doing this in person, you can get an MP3 like voice recorder at Office Depot for $20. If you're doing it over the phone, if you've got there's a call recorder app. There's actually a bunch of them. I use one literally called Call Recorder that allows you to call them and then hit a record button, and it records the interview as an MP3 file. Here, I'll show it to you. So I have an iPhone. So if I go in my iPhone app store and I search Call Recorder, this is what comes up. That's the one you want. It's free. You just pay for the airtime, the number of minutes that you record a call for. So you might spend $10 a month recording interviews. It just depends on how many you do. When you use the app, see it says buy credits. You've got to buy the time. In this case, I've got 1 hour and 2 minutes remaining. You hit the red button, which is for record. Forget the call ended because I hung up for the purposes of this demonstration, but it says call recording now started. You add a call, you pick your person that you're calling, and then when you get them on the phone and they're ready, you hit merge calls and it starts taping. And then when you hang up at the end, it emails you an MP3 file, and that's your interview. So what do you do with the interview once you've got it? Oh, sorry, I didn't show you me picking a person. You transcribe it. You've got to transcribe the interview into, like, let's say a Microsoft Word doc, and then you edit it. And let's say you have enough chapters to make a book. You're going to add an introduction by you, maybe a few chapters about you and what you do in financial services and how you're different from everybody else and the history of your firm, so that and why they should call you and how your process works. And then a conclusion, obviously, with another call to action for, the first initial consultation or however it is that you work. You need a cover. You need a front and back cover and a spine for the book, so it looks like a real book. And then you publish it. And you can publish that. Amazon now will allow you to publish for free on a site called CreateSpace. You just upload the file, and they will print them for you on demand. We actually have a source because we started our own publishing company, that is cheaper than Amazon. But if you want to, you can publish on Amazon, order copies, and then I would send 2 copies to every person you interview, along with a letter saying, hey, would you like more copies of this? I don't even want to charge you a profit. I just want to recoup the cost of the book because I want to get our empowering message about whatever it is into as many people as possible. Hey, Mr. CPA and attorney, here I will even include a letter written in your voice to send out to your clients and prospects saying, hey, look at me, I'm in a book. Obviously, it's got to be written better than that. But now the CPA, you're doing as much of the work for them as you can. So they buy copies of the book. They send it out with the letter you already wrote for them. They mail it out, and those clients come back to you, and you get referrals, and you get business. Does that make sense? So I hope I'm inspiring in you, and I hope I am inspiring you to be our next success story. Here's another example. This is John Cito. He is doing a book called New Jersey Divorce Experts. That's not the final cover. It's not going to say starring. And he wants a new picture because that's an old picture, as you can tell by the suit. But he's interviewing. He's a certified divorce financial analyst, and he works best with divorcing women. So he is interviewing divorce attorneys. He is interviewing CPAs who deal with divorce. He's interviewing business valuation experts who value the business when people split up. He's interviewing some marriage counselors, some therapists. He's even interviewed some real estate agents who specialize in divorce relocation. I think he's got 17, 18 of them now. We're all already, the book isn't even done yet, and they're already sending him referrals. So, I mean, he's a superstar fan of ours. He's so excited. So, I mean, you don't have to just do it. I showed you the estate planning example, but it could be, and I gave you a few others, but it's really limited to your imagination. So I don't have anything I'm not here to sell you anything today, by the way, just so you know, there's no pitch coming. So if all creating your book with a team of referral sources did for you was get you in front of those dream referral sources and prospects, would it be worth it? Would it be worth the time and energy and a small amount of resources? The answer is, I mean, all of our clients would say yes. If all it did was get your book done without you having to really write a book. How many of you have thought, man, I should have a book. I would like to have a book. Or you've seen other people, other advisors, other agents who've had a book, but you didn't know what to write about. You don't consider yourself a writer. You don't know how you're going to get it done. This is the way to get a book without having to write it. And if all this did for you is get you new clients, would it be worth it? Now, I'm going to open it up for Q&A in a minute. I hope I have inspired you to get a book, to create a book, and do it with not all about you, because there are firms out there. There's another firm in the industry that will do your book for you. And what they do is they interview you, they transcribe it, edit it, and they turn it into a book all about you. And they charge, I think, like $10,000 or $15,000 for this. And the issue with that, they produce a great product. It's a great book about you. But if it's all about you, who's going to share it? Who's going to promote it? You are. You're the only one. The trick to ours is we flip the system upside down and make the book about, it's about you. You have the most real estate in the book, but it should also be about your ideal referral sources so that they promote the heck out of it and send you business. So if you want, I am hoping that this inspired you. You can do this yourself, or if you want to see if you qualify to have us do it for you, we of course have a service that will do it for you. We do most of the work. But if you're going to do it yourself, let me ask you, can you dial a phone? I know you all can. Can you read? You're here. And can you edit a Word doc? That's really all the work that's involved if we do it for you. You do the interview, we'll even edit the Word docs for you. So you don't even have to read it. If you want to see if you qualify to have us do the work for you and you want the details on how that would work, you go to ultimatemarketingmagician.com/bookmagic. You have to apply because we can't have multiple advisors, multiple agents in the same cities, all going after the same target market. So for example, I've got a New Jersey divorce guy. So if you're in New Jersey and you want divorce business, I can't do that. And you would get, that wouldn't be fair to John. Now, if you wanted to be in New Jersey and do estate planning work, we could do that. So you've got to apply to make sure that we don't overlap. And that's at ultimatemarketingmagician.com/bookmagic. And that's bookmagic is one word spelled out. I am now going to take a breath and a drink of water and then open it up for questions and answers. Please type them in the chat box. Okay, we've got some questions. Awesome. Okay. Oh, they were sent via direct message. That's fine with me. Okay. First question. How many chapters does it take to make a book? That's a great question. It depends on how long-winded, how verbose your interview subjects are. So we've had agents where the book took 10 chapters, and we've had them where the book took 20. I'll give you an example. If you listen to my podcast at ultimatemarketingmagician.com/podcast, it's on direct response marketing. I interview the top, thought leaders in the country and get them to share their secrets. I had one interview where I asked the guy, "How did you get started?" That's usually our first question. "How did you get started?" And his answer was one sentence. The whole interview was over in 5 minutes. And I said, "I can't really use this for my next book." Then I interviewed someone else and I said, "How did you get started?" His answer was half an hour long. I literally could have put the phone down, walked away, and come back half an hour later. I don't think he would have noticed. So at the end, he finished answering the question. I said, "Okay, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks so much." So it just depends. 10 to 20 usually. Another question. If you do it for us, what do we have to do? All right, spoiler alert, you're going to see this after you apply. We will help you come up with the concept and the name and the interview questions. We'll write them all for you. We will do the research. We will market to your guests to get them to be on the show. You don't have to do that to get them to be in the book. Sorry. You don't have to do that. And then you will conduct the interview. It's got to be your voice. And then you read the questions and record, and then you email us the MP3 file. We will transcribe it. We will edit it. We will get it back to you for you, your guest, and your compliance department, if you have one, for them to all approve. Then once that's approved, once you've got enough, we will do the graphic design and the layout and the publishing of the book. We will provide the marketing campaign that goes with the book to the CPA, the attorney, and whoever else, saying, "Hey, you should buy more copies. And here's the letter to send to your clients, Mr. CPA, telling them how fabulous you are for being in a book." So we literally do everything except the physical interview itself. Good question. And how long does it take? We usually, depending on how big your city is and what type of people you want to interview, we will usually guarantee at least one interview every week. It takes 20, 30 minutes at the most. And then once you've got enough done for a book, you've got a book. You can also, if you are willing to spend more than 30 minutes a week, we'll get them done faster. It's totally, I have a chiropractor who's doing a book on how to get your life back after cancer. And he did 27 interviews in 1 month. Like, he took a week off of work, did them 8 hours a day, and got his whole book done. Got like 2 books done in a month. I would not suggest you do that. He is abnormal. He is our poster child. But literally, you can get it. You could get it done 1 a week. It'll just take longer, or you can get it done faster. It's totally up to you. Good questions. Any other questions? Okay. Well, I hope I have at least inspired you to get your own book, to do your own book and do it yourself. Obviously, we'd love for you to see if you qualify to have us do it for you. Either way, you're more than welcome to, apply and then ask me questions. I am happy to help. Again, I am still a producer in this industry. And none of you, as far as I know, are in Buffalo. So none of you are my competition. So I am happy to help. I will put my email address and my phone number. I'll put my email address and my phone number in the chat box. Just keep in mind, I'm on the East Coast and I have 3 little kids who go to bed early. So email me first before you call me or text me, if you don't mind. Anybody else have any other questions? Awesome. Okay. Well, if I can do this and dozens and dozens of advisors and insurance agents around the country that we're doing it for can do it and get great results, I know you can do it too. You can do it yourself, or you can talk to us. Either way, I hope I've inspired you. Thank you so much for attending, and I will hopefully talk to you soon.